examples of that you've seen across other countries where people are.
They are born to be leaders, these kids. At the end of the day, they all believe in their own ability. When they come here, we just want to help them now to be able to channel that ability and help them to realise their ambition.
I think this is a great experience. The very fact that we're here together from different communities and we're together in an organized manner that will tend to share the ideas, the various perspectives on different beliefs, like how we can actually contribute to the economic development of our countries.
It's a great chance to combine, sort of conflict resolution with business practices, because you can't, we live in an age now where you can't have one without the other. That peace is sustained through economic development. So I think anytime we get to engage in dialogue discussing both of those issues, it's going to be beneficial, it's going to be positive. So I'm looking forward to it.
It'll just be nice to get to know how other people do get on and see what they think of how we live, and just maybe make some new friends.
So they're often running. We've had some great interactive discussions already today, even though they are all tired from their journey, but we're really looking forward to a fantastic week and really believe that the outcomes will be incredible.
And a lot of what had to happen in Holland and in England was for me to start to get rid of, this baggage.
A lot of businesses in America,
You can find the problem and you can fix it.
I think that he did a really good job of explaining the past history of South Africa from his own perspective, but also trying to incorporate a number of other perspectives, as well as giving us a very good overview of what the situation in South Africa is like in terms of politics, economics, and some of the social issues that South Africa is grappling with right now. So I thought it was really excellent.
I would agree to what she said. The lecture was really interesting, especially thinking of the major challenges that people face and continue to face in South Africa, and what are some of the ways as the processes are moving forward. And just looking at this experience, as myself being living in a post-war country, knowing what this conflict is all about is really valuable experience. Considering all of this, how would you envision South Africa in the future in terms of peace and development?
Let me take a step back and say what is the framework that I use to look at that question. And again, it's something you can write down and you can Google it. It's called adaptive leadership. I think it's very important that young people at this age get this opportunity to interact with people from different conflict zones, but also to have this kind of process to support and coach and develop their skills. And it's great for me to be part of at least the start of some of it. I've seen over many years now how valuable it is, say, to take people to South Africa, or to take groups from one community to another community, or to go into those places where you're just removed from your ordinary environment. And that even though it's a short period of time, I know that because of the way in which people interact and the way we've tried to make it a very human experience, that is something that would be like seeds that can grow with support. I've been working in Northern Ireland and the south of Ireland for the last 10 years, and I've become really aware of how much this part of the world has to offer. I mean, it's accessible, the language and all of that, but also it's a complex conflict that's deeply rooted, with lots of practical examples of how people are engaging with it. And people are very open usually in terms of their willingness to share. And it's also good for people from Northern Ireland to be exposed to students and people from other parts of the world, because this, after all, sometimes is experienced as a bit of an island. But I think both ways there's lots of good things to be shared.
So far, this has been an amazing experience. First meeting our fellow students from Kosovo and Northern Ireland, but then digging into the history, learning, understanding the contradictory stances, right, and what people actually have been dying for what they believe in. And so, whether it's going to Belfast or yesterday Dublin, the Peace Wall, the Peace Bridge, every single minute of our experience here has been fundamental as far as like understanding on how to bring economic prosperity to a place where there's much trouble.
What would you consider some of the challenges, like globally thinking about women actually getting more engaged into politics, and how would you think that these challenges could be overcome over the coming years?
Groups like women or young people or entrepreneurs or ethnic minorities to either establish their own group.
The session was really interesting and informative at the same time, especially looking at the relationship between women in politics and the recommendations that Shannon offered. It was really, really insightful.
We're getting small models started at several campuses throughout California and Nevada. And it's kind of
I still want more. I mean, I'm definitely going to try and follow up with her, but yeah, she's the perfect mind to actually try and challenge and just get samples of her intelligence and her knowledge. So in asking her so many questions, and she was able to give me almost nearly perfect answers, and I just hope to get more from her in the future.
Encompassing economics, encompassing history, encompassing
a lot of the nations and
political science, for giving us part of the history of politics.
All of the sessions have been great because I've been learning a variety of things, everything from, entrepreneurship to how to be a social leader, how to never give up, to, what I can do on my own individual level to impact the globe. And, these sessions are just incredible because they help contribute to an overall, my overall want to be an advocate. A lot of these sessions, if you were in any other program, one would be in one program, one session would be in another, but this program sort of combines, everything you want and need into one program, and it's incredible.
People in jobs, but I'm interested in why you're being quite competitive here when...
Because we both want to win.
I think the really interesting thing about this week is that the people who are here are getting real skills that are actually valuable going forward. I could see that some people are going to learn, they're getting challenged, they're getting criticized, but they're also getting supported, they're getting inspiration. I could see somebody walking away from this with a good, strong business idea that's actionable. But I could also see that if that doesn't happen, that they're actually a step ahead for their next business idea, they're a step ahead for their next initiative, and I think that there are solid skills being imparted here. But also the inspiration, the kind of creativity, the excitement that you need to have is here as well.
Right? Assess the ways that businesses and corporations negatively impact communities, right? And how this is going to be a benefit to everybody is right?
Exploration of trying to dig iron out of the ground, so,
Well, I'm hoping that the really big thing they take away from it is that they've learned how to have really open conversations, that they're seeing that the problem that they might have in their community or the problem that they might have in their society is replicated somewhere else. I hope that what they're getting is, the thing that I love is when I meet somebody new, is that I'm going to learn their life story, I'm going to learn their experiences, and that I can take something new from that.
Have you ever seen the bathtub club, is what we call it?
Unless you lived here for a little.
This week I've learned about various conflicts. What can I say? It's been so much. Just drawing similarities between things in Kosovo, even around dinner table conversations, just learning about various people's backgrounds. And I think it was a great idea to bring people from a different country inside to Ireland to compare and contrast. In Belfast, we learned a lot just by visiting the city. It's amazing to learn history not out of a book, not in a classroom, but on the ground, visiting these sites and seeing history, firsthand.
Being here in Northern Ireland, actually, we could compare that to Kosovo and our conflict there. So right now, we have a better understanding of the conflict between the Protestants and Catholics. Therefore, we can kind of, again, compare it to Kosovo and how we were in conflict. But now we're also learning how we can overcome those differences and how we should actually value other people and those cultural differences, religious differences, and live together and try to grasp those differences, learn from each other, and protect our values, I think.
very successful company and very kind of interesting somehow opportunity and what they do, their expansion of their sales in US and in all Ireland. Many of them got new ideas to open or start up their own business in their hometowns.
Okay, we're going to walk for about 1.5 kilometres underground. It'll take about an hour, like I just said, and we're coming up 154 steps. Okay, so every time I stop and turn around. Okay, thank you very much.
Today we had a tour and we went around the walls of Derry and we were told facts about the Bogside and we were told facts about the actual wall itself.
About 100 people defied the ban. They were battened charged by the police force and a riot developed that spread into Bogside, and that riot in October 1968 is seen by many historians as the start of the Troubles in Northern Ireland.
For people who've come from areas which have had deprivation or indeed are suffering from austerity, which our three groups have experience of, you can sit in a classroom and talk about things, but until you actually get out and walk through the history and live the history, as they used to say, you know, the living history of Northern Ireland, it's only then that you actually get a feel for the country.
So much better being out and listening to speakers and learning from their past experiences and seeing how they actually made it and seeing what they thought of the business world. So I think it's really educational.
Delivery of one plan is one of those commitments. Likewise, it's also embedded in the new economic strategy for Northern Ireland.
They were moving north, and there's a lesson in all this, I think. My uncle and my grandfather decided, you know, if we went across the border here and we started making underwear, there will come tariff protection, and our little company might be protected by tariffs.
The quality of the speakers for me has been something that has stood out. Just before you came in, we had probably the next First Minister for Northern Ireland was, you know, answering our questions very openly. So for me, as a Northern Irish person, I've never had the opportunity to do that before. And you know, the other speakers, I'd like to think, you know, I'm fairly a knowledgeable chap, but you know, just listening to some of them has, you know, been really eye-opening, and you know, it's an experience I'll never forget.
I'm seeing this that, like, as a Kosovo, we have some potentials that maybe, it's in my opinion, that Northern Ireland don't have, but mutually we could have a mutual interest that we can both as two countries benefit.
I know Hillary Clinton has often used this phrase, but the world is a global village, you know, and I think that we can help each other, whether it's in political terms.
What is the ideal thing that they should do as a community to come forward towards setting a shared future?
The Protestant people haven't yet really discussed any major. The whole discussion within the peace process took place within the Republican nationalist community. And every step.
How does the US define humanitarian crises, or how does the US define words like genocide?
Humanitarian crises cover genocide, but also cover a lot of other things. Genocide is a very specific thing.
It's really an amazing experience, especially I was amazed by the people who was there for us and how they talked and how their experiences. We learned a lot. I really find this very essential, especially for me, myself, and other people from Kosovo, I think so.
This guy is a guy who was my inspiration from the very beginning. I was working for a place called Glencree Centre for Reconciliation, where Wilhelm and myself worked. Wilhelm, the guy you met on Sunday. Things were not particularly easy. because I had a job working in this border area, trying to get Catholics and Protestants together, which at the end of the day meant getting Catholic Republicans and Protestant Loyalists together for deep, meaningful discussion. That was not easy, and this is a guy that helped me begin. Sean, a Catholic priest, I introduced to a guy with a Loyalist background, a guy who could have done a few bad things. The two got on really well, and this guy has been to the other side of the world with that particular man and his group, and also a Sinn Féin official.
Fermanagh is a unique place, I believe, to have this type of summer school here. We have the divided history for so many years. Now we are moving to the shared history and the ability to use our history not in a divisive way, but in a way to move our society forward. And the expertise that is here to be able to then help deliver that knowledge to people that are coming in from Kosovo, from America, from any other country in the world is very, very evident here. And certainly Sean and Marcus is leading the way with this summer school, which we will be very, very supportive of making sure that continues year on year and develops out into a bigger programme that sees Fermanagh as a centre of learning expertise in post-conflict sharing of history in a very positive way, as well as the entrepreneurial spirit that drives and underpins societies.
Well, I really got a great sense of what the political process here is in Enniskillen, in Fermanagh, and how it relates to the political process that's happening in Belfast and how it all is interconnected. And obviously, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of parallels between how local government is related to federal government here in Northern Ireland, as similar to how it's done in the States as well. It's fascinating.
I see myself as an accountant in the future.
Technology is going to change so fast.
The course I'm doing now is named Kelly.
This is, why I actually applied for this summer school, was to get some more ideas on entrepreneurship and maybe take a business online and, work with people on a, sort of distance basis and hopefully generate enough income that way to do all the things I want to do.
So I always admire people in the medical profession. That's way above my pay grade. I'm not going to try to give professional advice about an area. I just know I would be terrible and I wouldn't have the nerve for that. But what I would say is something that's really exciting just now in the medical area that's somewhat related to my online communications area.
When you look at where the world is going generally, no longer are people living locally in closed communities. So unless people are getting a chance to meet, especially as early as possible, groups from different experiences but with the same goals, the less likely they are to find ways to cooperate and to communicate and to collaborate. And I think this environment helps them do exactly that. So I hope afterwards they walk the talk, if you like. I'm sure they will. It seems like a really good group. For me, finding that people from these different groups are interested in coming to Northern Ireland in the first place is reassuring. I think though Northern Ireland does need to change its narrative. It can no longer be about a conflict and talking about what other groups can learn from that conflict. Hopefully students like the students here will start telling a different story of Northern Ireland and start telling a story where we're innovating, we're coming up with new ideas, new businesses, new collaborations. If that can happen, then I think we're well on the way to a different narrative, and I hope we are.
digging deeper into the issues and understanding some of the things that Northern Ireland is going through, for me, I think humanizes a lot of the experience and helps, I guess, pull out a lot of the parallels between experiences that people have throughout the world. Definitely in the United States and Ireland, I see a lot of similarities, especially the social issues. So for me, it's been eye-opening, and it's been very much a learning process. Hopefully I've established friendships that I'll have for life, and so I'm just happy that I was afforded the opportunity to come here.
Well, the week has been remarkable. We arrived here from the States on Friday last week, and really didn't have any expectations about what this program was going to be about. This is the first time it's been being delivered, and I couldn't be more pleased with what has happened during the course of this week. I know the students themselves have learned quite a bit. I've learned quite a bit myself, and I think getting a better sense of the conflict here in Northern Ireland, understanding about the conflict in Kosovo, and learning about the opportunities that happen in a post-conflict society have been something that the students will take with them for a long time.
Obviously the purpose of this was from an educational perspective, but I think culturally and socially there's been great benefits from the students, from each other. I think they've learned an awful lot from each other, as well as from the wealth of knowledge and experience that they've had from the various different speakers, from local representatives of entrepreneurship right through to people that have worked at very senior levels in government.
It's been interesting to see the group dynamics this week, and to see how at the start of the week you had students who perhaps weren't confident in where they were coming from and why they were here, through to even particularly the Kosovan students actually being a lot more vocal towards the end of the week, and feeling safe in discussing some of the issues and the conflict problems that they've had, because obviously their conflict is more recent and they're still in that early healing stage. The variety that the week has held in terms of visits and entrepreneurs and politicians, for me it has been very educational as well, and I hope that it's the start of a strong relationship both with AUK and the Jackie Robinson Foundation.
One thing that really amazed me is how, being very close, working very close with students, is how they didn't know each other at all, and the second day of the school they got along so well with each other, and they were so united in finding the common solution to a different tasks that were assigned.
Having built this center and providing half.
Day by day, hour by hour, I feel like I'm becoming more world renowned, because the themes here, problems, you can apply it to almost anywhere. You see the underlying theme. So it's truly eye-opening for me just to see this from a whole different perspective, especially here on the ground.
And Catholics played, and that's how I grew up.
And it's just opened my eyes to really appreciate what I do have.
For this week, looking at its own outcomes, I think it's been fantastic to observe the students interacting between each other. 3 different cultures, they've got together, they've come from some totally different backgrounds, they've shared their experiences, they have listened, they've learned from the experiences that they've found here, and we find them learning as they're doing this during the week. And I think that even the main outcomes of this week will not sink in with some of them for a while.
The end result isn't just this one week been a success, it's what happens in the future, what these people can give to others, how we can help them transform themselves.
It's been a journey that we're on in this particular programme, but it's been a fantastic journey. And when you have people supporting you on your journey, like running a marathon, people cheering, it really makes it easy.
and the people who so kindly came along, they've spoken, they've facilitated. These are people that have really done it. Everyone we've got, they're not just the typical academic. These are people who have achieved, they've proven achievements, they've worked from their heart in the past and they've succeeded.
And we could not do it without having some financial support, and for that we're eternally grateful to the American Ireland Fund, because without their help this programme wouldn't have been possible. And also to two individuals, Elizabeth Bagley and John Fitzpatrick, who have kindly donated themselves in order to be able to help us to get a kick start in this, and we're hoping then that we can move it forward with further support.
Thank you.
I'm gonna miss everybody. This is really a beautiful experience, having to meet you all and coming here and learning about Northern Ireland and learning about conflict, but more than just conflict, learning about the people and the resiliency of communities to continue to strive for peace and to keep going. And just working with you all has been amazing.
It was a great experience. Probably one of the best of my life. I got to see a foreign country, meet loads of new people, gain loads of new experiences.
I'm very sad to leave. Friends I've made forever, honestly, but no, it's a great experience. Great experience. Unforgettable memories for sure.